Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
You are once again welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for more updates, like and also share to other members to watch as well. You can equally leave a comment at the comment section or send us a voice note on our WhatsApp number 0277128777. Thank you. I want you to join me listening to what we have for you today. Be right back.
Well, let me welcome Nana here in studio. Nana,
Yes.
Good morning.
Sana, good morning. How are you?
I am doing well. Interestingly, we've never sat face to face before.
Yes, I normally come on the afternoon show.
Yes. You're clear. We can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you clearly.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes. We've been on Alaji. Then I've spoken to you on phone before.
Yes.
A couple of times.
Yes, exactly.
But we've never had a face-to-face
No, not in
conversation
studio.
before.
Yeah.
Good morning. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year to you, Sana, and congratulations on the victory that we all are waited for. We thank God that today we are where we are. We thank God that by tomorrow, as if I should borrow the words of Honorable Akufo-Addo, the Egyptians we see, we will see them no more. They were actually Egyptians. The MPP behaved in a very heroic manner. And
Heroic?
yes. And they didn't. Can't you see that all of a sudden everybody is talking? When Nanado was there, it was as if duct tape has been slapped across the mouths of most people, especially people who are prominent and people who we expected to put them right. And everybody has been quiet. Churches were quiet. Muslim clerics were quiet. Leaders, professors, doctors, academicians, pastors, everybody was quiet. But whatever was going on at the time wasn't great at all. And nobody really could say a word. Chiefs were quiet. That even ordered chiefs to stand up. A novelty that has never happened in this country. Chief to stand up when he arrived at a certain location. And it was a bit unnerving and nobody condemned it. And if I say nobody, I talked about prominent people whose voice ran far. And there was no adequate condemnation from the highest level. The media spoke, we all spoke, but it was like our voices were not being heard. And anytime you even said something against them or tried to even advise them, you were termed as of NDC. They said they would refer you as NDC in a very derogatory manner. So I used to ask them, is NDC not a party, not a group of people who are Ghanaians, and that if for any reason somebody belongs to the NDC, is it a sin? And they just wave things away. They didn't know that Ghanaians were not people that you can walk over, especially in your second term. And I said that they couldn't break the 8 because they were not in touch with reality. Because whenever you pick the trotro and you pick the taxis, you pick the Uber, when a government is losing, that is where you get the indicators. So the trotros, the taxis, they will tell you, because an Uber driver or a Bolt driver would pick so many people in a day, and the kind of conversations that go on would tell you exactly what it is. So they were not in touch. They were not in touch with the people, and they didn't really care. But it's good they are gone. We are refreshed, but I also hope that as a new government has come, we should all come on board to help, and things must be done in a different way, so that at the end of the day, Ghanaians will know that there is a change. I know and I believe His Excellency John Mahama is good to go. I mean, once he takes power, we'll see the difference. But it doesn't also lie with him alone. And I'm urging anybody that he trusts to give a position to work till your blood drops. Because then that is what he needs. Sitting at the Flagstaff House, he cannot see everywhere. He cannot know what is going on. But I also believe that he should find mechanisms to be monitoring appointees. I remember as a young girl at, I'm not saying you should do espionage, but this was in the PNDC days. There was this man who used to walk around the ministries. I never found his name. And the last time I went to His Excellency John Mahama's acceptance press conference, he was there. The man will be everywhere in the ministries. Everywhere. I used to be at the GIPC at the time, and he was there. You find him walking around our photocopy room, sometimes begging for food. Then one day we went to see His Excellency, at that time it was Chairman Rawlings, in the castle. And I found this man walking around in the castle. Then it occurred to me that His Excellency Chairman Rawlings at the time was really, his eyes was everywhere. That's what I can say. And I believe that Rawlings' style should be adopted. Chairman Rawlings used to go around and see what was happening. And I'm saying that the appointees or the president should not cocoon him in the Flagstaff House. They should let him come out. They should let him go to the market sometimes and speak to the ordinary Ghanaian. They should let him interact. That is the way that you find out what is going on. And Rawlings was top-notch on that. I remember his second term in 1996. He thought everything was all right till he went out himself. And he noticed everything wasn't all right. And one of my kids was asking me, he's not a kid, he's old, was asking me, Ama, how come Rawlings lost weight in 96 in this manner? Like the time he came in 81, 79. I said, you see, he thought that he was winning till he found out that actually he wasn't winning. Because he actually went out to speak to people and saw that there was a problem. So that was 10 regions. He actually campaigned. I remember very well. He himself, he put it upon himself to go everywhere. And eventually he won. So some of his ways must be adopted. For you to know exactly what you should do some mystery shopping. You should get people gathering intelligence for you. Otherwise, human beings as they are, their trajectory of thinking and their needs and their ambitions sometimes supersedes what the president himself wants to do. So he should do a lot of work. It's not going to be easy, but I believe that with God on his side, he'll be able to do it. He has been there before, he knows what it is. And one of the areas that he should really look at is the energy sector. The energy sector is an area, especially the electricity sector of the energy sector, is an area that you really need to look at. Otherwise, it will erode all your gains, your economic gains. And that is an area that you should really, really look at. You should really look at and make sure that that area is stable. Already there are challenges, financial challenges, but the good thing is that we don't have capacity challenges. We have financial challenges that has to be relooked. And I believe that the ESLA, wherever it is encumbered, it should be unencumbered so that it can be used to pay off some of the debts, because before he left with the ESLA and everything, he had cleaned the slate of the utilities so that it will give them a clean slate to borrow. But because this government encumbered the ESLA to some loans which had no correlation to the energy sector, there was then the inflows then became a problem. You should look at ECG collection ratios. You should let the PURC give realistic benchmarks, strict benchmarks, collection and technical losses. It should be strict and be ahead to, so that if you have to do maybe the world is 10%, you have maybe 15%. I'm here, they are doing 31%, and that is too much.
Okay.
So that area is a place that they have to look at, collection and all that, and VRA, all of them. They should look at them and see. There should immediately he takes over. There should be a key major stakeholder meeting of the energy subsector of the electricity sector.
Well, okay, so you went through a few things. Let me come back to the beginning.
Okay, come back.
How long were you in public service?
27 years.
27 years. Where did you start from?
Started from GIPC.
Ghana Investment
Promotion
Promotion
Center, yeah.
You were there for how many years?
For 10 years.
They moved to?
Free Ghana Free Zones Board. We actually were the people who found I was the lead to get where they are now at East League, as cantonments.
Oh, really?
Yes, I led to get that place for them.
Okay, where your friend ultimately built there?
Yes, where my friend ultimately built the towers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They were... we used to be at the ministry, and our minister at the time was Apreku.
Okay.
Then I left GIPC to Free Zones. Then, actually, I was taken there by what is his name? The former deputy minister for trade.
Under who?
Under Rawlings. In 2000.
That's a long
2001. Honorable Agudapi.
Okay.
Honorable Agudapi and Commander Griffith.
Okay.
At the time.
Okay.
He was the deputy minister for trade.
Okay.
So I went to the Free Zones Board, and at the Free Zones Board, they sacked us. The minister sacked the Free Zones from our office because he was going to get EDIF.
Okay.
EDIF being now the Exim Bank. And EDIF, was for businesses, for trade and all that. And we didn't have a place.
Okay.
So at
You
that
had to
time,
find a new
we
place.
had to find a new place. So then I went through, and with some colleagues of ours, at that time they were selling these houses, GNTC houses.
Okay.
And at that time, and that was Kofo's time, and that if you are going to, get one of those houses, it should be for public, a public institution. So we went through the process, and we got to that place.
Okay.
So that is where I was for 4 years. Then I moved to the PURC.
Okay.
The PURC, I think I was there 13 years or
13 years?
Yes.
So you went through 2 administrations?
Yes,
Kufo,
I went through,
and then
through all
Rawlings.
of them.
Okay. Kufo,
Rawlings, Mills, His
Okay.
Excellency Mahama. I worked with all.
No, at the PURC, you went through Kufo,
I went through
Mills,
Kufo,
Mahama.
Mills, and Mahama.
Okay. It was under Nanado
That I
your
left.
war started.
Yes, I was started. And
But the GIPC was largely GIPC
was
and
largely
Free Zones
was
under
largely
Rawlings Kufo.
Yes, Rawlings was Rawlings.
Okay.
Because I left there 2001.
Okay.
So GIPC was largely Rawlings.
Okay. Okay.
Largely Rawlings.
Then you moved to Free Zones.
Then I moved to the Ghana Free Zones Board. Then from Free Zones, I went to the PURC.
I see. Quite an interesting journey in public service.
Yes.
Do you think you deserve an award? Because they were awarding people for being ministers and all.
I don't know I don't know what I deserve. But they awarded me in 2017.
Okay.
The way they awarded me.
Okay.
But
but they did not award.
But that was the award for me.
But that was not
The award was BNI for me, Yoko for me, CID for me. That was the Nando's award for me for working in the public service. Actually, at that time, at a point, I said, is it worth it?
Okay.
Looking back, spending 27 years of my life. I started very young, and I told myself, is it worth it?
Okay.
And
that was 2017. Once they came into government. At what point did all this start? Because you had worked under former President John Mahama.
Yes.
At the time, you were not the most popular. People didn't really. Whenever people saw you, people got angry. They said this woman is coming to increase electricity fee.
But
and what I recall was that you were in charge of communications.
Yes, I was the director for PR and external affairs.
Director for PR and external affairs.
Yes.
You were not the commissioner.
No, I wasn't the executive secretary. But in the terms of the institution, the directors were the second line.
Okay.
That any time like you could act.
Okay.
We didn't have a deputy, so we were like the deputies under the executive secretary. Yes.
Okay.
And so anytime the chief executive is not there, one of us would act. So in the scheme of things, we were like, So I was always in the meeting with the commissioners, and my chairman. All of my chairmen insisted that even when I was a manager, I attended commission meetings. And I was the one that drafted all, and I was also their eye, and I gave them indicators. And as I was speaking to somebody, I always did a small SWOT or a stakeholder mapping in my head, or a pest of every situation that they're in, so that I would advise them which trajectory that they should go, because especially dealing with tariffs and consumers and everybody, you need to know exactly who you are dealing with, in which manner you are dealing with them. It was working there wasn't easy, dealing with all manner of stakeholders, the TUC, closely working with them, the parliament, closely working with them, traders, as if you are working with the whole of Ghana. And the president, we do our tariffs, and we announce the tariffs, and presidents were not very happy with it. Actually, the only president who actually understood our work, because he also worked as the Minister for Communication. He had a regulatory institution under him, NCA, understood our work. But his predecessors never were happy with us.
You're talking about former president, ma'am?
Yes.
President-elect now, ma'am?
Yes. It was just elating working with him, because anytime we finished our tariff and announced it, and we took it to him, because certainly he would want to know what are the indicators. I've said this so many times, and for me, reliving it is refreshing, because even though we're in a crisis, he could understand everything that there was. Everything. There wasn't a time he was.
It's quite a technical area.
Yes, I am telling you, the man understood it. I am not joking. Of all the presidents that I have worked with, all of them avoided it. All of them avoided it.
I see.
They didn't really even. I don't want to say he's not around, but His Excellency John Mahama would not call his energy minister to come and explain.
Oh.
Yes.
I see.
We were surprised.
So it was a conversation between.
Yes, and he understood. He would look at the figures and tell you that, okay, so you put this one here and this one was this. We were shocked. We were shocked. From as vice president, we worked with him, and he understood the sector so well. And what intrigues me was how he understood the intricacies of the tariff setting mechanism. He never asked us to teach him. That's what is the tariff setting mechanism. He never asked for the rate setting guidelines.
Okay.
But he knew exactly what it is. Most of them would avoid it, not even look at it. Or they'll ask you to explain. He will not. He will just tell you, give me what you have done.
Once he looked at it, he got exactly.
He got it. I'm not joking. He got it.
But you said typically they were not usually. So because when you increase tariffs, the blowback is usually on the administration.
Yes.
So even him, I guess he was also not enthused on many occasions.
Yes, he wasn't. But he wasn't enthused. But he also knew we were doing our job. I remember we were called to the office of Colonel Beblolati, who is now my friend. Uncle, good morning. And at that time, he wasn't my friend. We were called
as National
Security Coordinator.
Okay.
And he told us it was hot. We had people in our yard. Everybody was angry. Then we went to his office, and he said, you know what, in this world, he taught me that whenever there is an issue, you have to face it head on. One will fall, one will stand. Then he looked at me and said, you Ashanti girl, they are saying that you want to destroy our government. But His Excellency John Mahama is the only one who says you are doing your job. And truly, I was doing my job. I was doing my job. I was doing my job to articulate whatever has been done by the commission. I was doing my job as being in the regulatory space, what it has to be. Okay. Because you look at indicators and you look at parameters, then we just don't do it anyhow. You have to look at the indicators and the parameters. Then we also have to look at stakeholder interest. Okay. So now I can talk about it. What we used to do was to get the media and some mystery shoppers to go to the market and throw out figures.
Oh.
So when today I'm giving you trade secrets. And throw out figures. So like if we got everything, we got maybe 50%. Then we throw out figures between 50 to 80 and we see what will be more favorable. Okay. We meet the media, we have a meeting, and they also throw out figures. But actually maybe it's a 50. But most times, whenever we came out with what the public wanted.
Okay.
Because every time we did what we did, it was always in tandem with the public. Okay. And that is how we did it. We involved everybody. We had serious TUC meetings, AGI late in the night. We'll be having meetings. Sometimes we go home as late as 2 o'clock. Because we don't meet a partner. The best alternative to a negotiated agreement. TUC will say no, this one. So we have to agree, continue agreeing. The TUC and the AGI were the only two bodies who were on our board. So they were the only people we shared the actual figures with. Okay. And then we will have all our meetings and eventually we come out with this thing. But I am happy His Excellency John Mahama is back. Okay. And I am just praying that we should help him to succeed because he's a great person. I mean, let's put everything aside. I've worked with all the presidents. He's a great person. You don't feel intimidated in his presence. Okay. He doesn't make you feel that you've made a mistake. Okay. Even if you've made a mistake, he has a way of letting you know. Okay. You get me? And all the meetings we had with TUC, he was there. Okay. He gave us support. Some keys. I don't know if Dr. Abe is still alive, but we had meetings with Dr. Abe Sepa.
Yes. I haven't heard from him in a
Yes, I don't know if he's still around.
I'm sure he is around.
Yes,
just that
maybe
very
old
advanced
age.
in age.
Yeah. So we had so many meetings, and most of the meetings he was there, and you could feel that you have somebody who wasn't going to be antagonistic towards you. Okay. And that even though he might not be happy with what it is, he knows this is reality. Okay. And I always say that I am glad that he's back. Okay. But I also want to say that whoever is made a Minister for Communications should have a plan. Okay. Should have a strategic communication plan to communicate his works. Okay. One thing that really went against him was the fact that Ghana didn't know what he did. It was after he had left that we saw some of the things that he did. Okay. But it was a bit too late. The communications person should have a bureau. I mean, a great one. I mean, it shouldn't be just like that. And we should also not allow, for me, I am not going to allow it, if I have the opportunity, to let people insult him. The way he was insulted, and that kind of bad image they created for him clouded and crowded whatever he did good for this nation. And I do not think that anybody should allow that. That going forward, whenever the opposition wants to insult him, we should step in. We shouldn't let it be. It was one of the things, the mechanisms they used to change the trajectory of who he is. Okay. And so we didn't see the good that he did. He did a lot of good. That we should let him continue, give him the space to continue. And support him. You see, we should support him like you are supporting a brother. You should support him like you are supporting a father, a friend. You should be passionate about supporting him. And so if you are passionate about supporting him, it should be the good thing for Ghana. Because as we support him, Ghana succeeds. As we support him, people will get food to eat. People will get accommodation. People will get work to do, jobs. We should do a 24-hour economy. We should let it work for Ghanaians. 4 years. JM can do it. We used to call him JDM. He can do it. He used 2.5 years to do all the developments, because I said that 9 months he was in court. 6 months he was campaigning in 2016. The rest is about 2 years, 7 months. But he did it. And I believe that whatever it is, we should all come on board. This is Ghana. Because I want to see a day where the queues at the American embassy will be less. I want to see a day where the planes will come and the planes are going back half empty. And that this kind of a modern slave trade that our young ones are engaged in, because in this country they can't get jobs to do, because they think they don't have a future, I should stop. And I believe and I know that if we help His Excellency John Mahama to work, it will stop. Never again should we let our young ones go abroad and do menial jobs. They should create an enabling environment for them to be able to get jobs, meaningful jobs in this country. Yesterday I was reading the Bible and I was reading Genesis 6, and I saw that at the eastern side of the Garden of Eden was the city called Pison, which was part of Havilah, and which was full of gold. So I told my children that is Ghana. That is Ghana, because Ghana is full of gold. Why do we have all these resources and we are broke? Why do we have all these resources and a few section of people have money? Go to the Achim land. I passed there. Their road is like even better than the motorway. But you don't see human beings walking, the only dwarfs. So in a place like this, you have done such a beautiful road, and the rest of Ghana didn't have good roads. And I'm also speaking to my Ashanti people. I'm saying thank you. We spoke, we came. Yes, of course, we didn't win everything, but we want some. For us to get 10 seats in Ashanti region is great. Nobody, if you can negate it no matter what you want. But Ashanti is the biggest region. 47 constituencies, and I'm saying thank you. You have done well, you are coming gradually. We need to see more in 2028. The total liberation of this nation depends on you. And I am your sister. And I come from here, I'm 100%, I'm proud Ashanti. I'm a royal. I love my people, and I'm saying that you have the power to change this nation. You have done it now. Going forward, do it again. If you don't do it for ourselves, nobody will do it for us. We need to go with a party that will respect us. This adage of MPP is used to cut our placenta. MPP is not a knife. MPP is not a scalpel. You have to move away from there. And let us look what His Excellency John Mahama will do for us. If he didn't do anything, he gave us a market. Parts of the market got bent, and today it has not been rebuilt. The old KJTR market is still sitting there. We are traders. That is what we do. We trade, we sell. Me as a young girl, I sold in the market. My mother has shops there. I sold in the markets. My father wasn't happy knowing who he was. He thought I should be in school. Yes, I was in school, but my focus was on trading. And at a point, he stopped me and noticed that if he doesn't stop me, school will not this thing. But so we are traders. We are traders. And His Excellency John Mahama has done it for us. He's giving us a mall, a market. He's going to give us a second market. He's going to do our roads for us. He's going to look after Ashanti, of which he loves Ashanti. And I believe that we shouldn't be too partisan, but we should use our numbers. We have done it now. We can do it again and again and again. Ghana needs total liberation. We should rid this country of the Egyptians.
Egyptians?
Yes.
And it seems your particular experience with this government, but it seems you knew Nana Addo before.
Yes.
He came in as president.
Yes.
Personally?
Yes, because he was my father's protege. Really? My father, F.A. Jantuah, everybody Rollins came to my house as a young girl. He came to pick my father to be his PNDC secretary and PNDC local government secretary, which was a minister then. Every president passed through my house because of my dad. Nana Addo passed through my house, and because of PMFJ. He was my father's protege. And the commitment he had at the time is not what we saw today. So sometimes...
Commitment?
Yes, at the time.
What were those commitments then, and how do you knew back then?
That's what I'm saying.
What was he committed to?
He was committed to making sure that Ghana is a haven at the time. So when he said some of those things, some of us believed it. Because we thought that if we had to look at him from the trajectory of the 70s, the early 80s, then maybe he had some compassion to change the country. But when he got the seat, it was something else.
At what point did you realize that this was a different person from that person you met?
The second year.
Second year?
Yeah.
What happened in the second year then?
I don't remember specifically, but then I noticed that some of the things that were going on, it didn't really match what he used to say. But I gave it a benefit of the doubt. By the end of the fourth year, going into the second term, I noticed that it was gone. That is when I started bashing him.
You still gave him the benefit of the doubt, even at a time when...
The second year.
Second year.
After they sacked me.
Yes, and they walked in.
Yeah.
In fact, that time, the treatment you got, there was a suggestion that you were... In fact, at some point I got confused because I knew as a media man that you were not the one who was running PURC. You were not the commission. You were not the chairman of the commission. You were not the executive. So, but the impression was created that everything was a Nanaya Jantuah show. Even at that time, you still were ready to give him the benefit of the doubt?
Yes, that is me. I mean, I was able to dichotomize what was happening to me. That was personal from what he was supposed to do for the country. For me, the country was first. And maybe my enthusiasm to make the country work made people believe that I was in control. Of course, I used to make sure things are done properly by Ghanaians. That anything that wasn't good for Ghana, I wouldn't let it go. And that is where they had a problem with him, because I believe that they wanted to use the load shedding as a platform to make it very bad for His Excellency John Mahama. That light could go off maybe for 2 weeks, and that is not load shedding. And I had people all over the country to be calling me to tell me that there's light off here. Maybe it has been there for 2 weeks. Then I will call the utility to find out what is happening at maybe in Prez. Why is light off for 2 weeks? What is happening at Asukwa? Why is so? They want, somebody actually told me that I spoiled their plan to use the load shedding as one of their tools.
Oh, really?
Yes, somebody confessed on set that
you became a major hindrance to that agenda.
That agenda, that you think we would have left you like that, you were a hindrance.
Really?
Yes. I'll go home and I'll find feces in front of my gate, maybe with a penny on it, and the feces will be used to write on my gate, your life is not worth a penny.
And this was when? Was this?
That 2013, when we were going through all the things.
That happened to you?
Yes. I told a story of when I was, my sister was in the security sector, and one day I was in Makola shopping. I go as usual doing my shopping, and she called me. Normally I wouldn't have taken my phone, but for some reason that day I took my phone and I put it on sound. Then I heard my phone calling in the crowd, and she said, "Nanaya, run." I said, "Why should I?" She said, "Look, a mob is coming against you, orchestrated by the MPP. Run. Where is your car? Don't look for your car. Get somebody to get your car later. Run. Pick a taxi. Enter a taxi. Leave the place."
Wow.
Yes. So I stopped my shopping, entered the taxi, flung the taxi down, sat in it, and I left.
And after all that, you still thought that with Nana Addo coming in, we were going to...
Because I thought that was personal.
Okay.
That they said that I worked for His Excellency John Mahama, and even when I went to the BNI, they made me write a statement that if I know him, if I ever made a call to him. Yes, I said yes, because I made a call to him, not to him personally as a person, but we wanted a levy for the PURC. We had put everything together and we had intelligence that it was going to be scuttled at cabinet. So I called his secretary at the time, who was my master's, at my master class at Gimpa, who was my mate.
Okay.
That I need to talk to him and that this is it. So I spoke to him. I was even in the bathroom when my people called me from the PRC.
Okay.
So he put me through to him and I told him, Your Excellency, ABCD have a plan to scuttle our levy. And now when I'm talking about the PRC levy, 3 people I will give credence to. His Right Honorable Bagbin, Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and Honorable Lepalemo, who is dead.
Okay.
These are the 3 people who stood in for us.
The PRC levy?
Yes.
Okay.
The levy.
Okay.
We didn't have a levy for 13 years. We couldn't even buy Tiro.
Okay.
I would sell adverts in our diaries, use some to pay for the diaries and the rest. I'll write proposals to the Ministry of Finance for HAPIC funds so that they can give us. I'll do fundraising for the organization to get some. I wasn't the finance person, but that was my commitment. So I made a call, yes, but then they used it against me.
So what was the allegations against you when you went before them?
The BNI?
The BNI.
Oh, initially they were like, I said somebody's shirt is not nice. I said I will give somebody a husband. I mean, all manner of things. I mean,
So it was not like you had engaged in any financial
It was
crimes?
later when they brought all those things up. And when we were sitting there and they were doing it, I said, this is not right. This is wrong. Because they were mentioning figures which were not even. So I remember I asked them to give me all the documents for me to go and interrogate. So my case officer gave it to me. So immediately I started interrogating. Then I noticed that there were people have changed things.
Okay.
So as in the process, I collapsed and I was taken to the hospital.
Okay.
I had a total system collapse. It's only my heart which was working.
Oh.
Because I had picked the bacteria when I was jailed. I was locked up in the BNI.
For how many? How long were you in?
I think 2 days.
Okay.
Even 1 day there in that place is not easy.
Yes.
So, I mean, 2 days and, I mean, all we went through. So, when I came back from hospital, still not myself. And they took me to Yoko.
From then BNI to Yoko?
BNI, I went to the CID at a point, then to Yoko. Then, that was a good one. Then they started all the things again and they threw away all receipts.
Okay.
My institution, all receipts were thrown away. Every single receipt, the PRC people threw them away. But see, BNI saved me twice. I went to a private clinic when I was sick and they gave me an excuse duty. And when I took it to the BNI, because I was reporting after everything 3 times a week like a criminal, then the BNI said they don't take private hospital excuse duty. So I was going to SNIT to just find somebody to give me an excuse duty. When I got there, Dr. Darius Osei, who was the head of SNIT at the time, looked at me and said, young woman, you are not going home. You are dead. As you stand there, you are dead. You are not living here. I said, but I came for you. He said, no. Immediately I collapsed. They put me in a wheelchair. I poo-pooed on myself. I wearied on I couldn't walk. I mean, when I was going there, I felt weak. But as usual, I did like I was strong. I poo-pooed on myself. I wearied on myself. I was in Pampers. And they took me in. My blood level was 4. I had bacteria all over, reading all over my system. My organs were compromised. I mean, all manner of things, and I went through it. So after all that, I came back home, and for almost a month I couldn't eat and all that. But my doctor had to release me, discharge me. And he told me it was for good. So the BNI said I was not speaking the truth, I was sick. So the hospital put me in a wheelchair to go to the BNI to show myself in an ambulance. And when I got there, they themselves saw the state in which I was. I remember a man at the reception, he just left the reception and said, "What is the meaning of this? Why are you doing this to this girl?" So they took me back to the hospital. Then after I was discharged, I came home. I even left home, stayed with my auntie. I came home and I saw a letter from Yoko, from a forensic auditor. And when I got to the forensic auditor, he said, "You, this young woman, you are going to prison."
Really?
Yeah.
Straight to your face?
Straight to my face. I said, "What have I done?" He said, "You spend money without a receipt." I said, "There's every single receipt in the office there." I've said this story so many times. Maybe you haven't heard it. He said, I said, "There's every single receipt in that office. Every single receipt. It is in a pink bag. All these transactions." And the man said they didn't give him anything. So he told me. So when I went home, I said, "Look," and I asked my boss upon that, the photocopies I made at the BNI, where is it? He said, "And I can't find it all." So I got to him and I told my children that, "Look, I'm going to prison also. They should take care of themselves." So the elders one said, "Mommy, you are not going to prison." I said, "But they've thrown away all receipts. Everything has been thrown away. So everything has been thrown away." So to cut a long story short, that night we did an all night. My children and I, they forced me, but me, I didn't. I said, "Look, the thing as it is now, the man has not one receipt. They have to, and I can't enter the PRC again. I'm out." So my children said, "No, Mommy, you won't go to prison, not to us." So we all sat down, we did all night. We prayed, we went to the Bible. We looked for quotations on missing items, how we can find. So at 6 a.m., I was going to sleep. They were still praying there at 6 a.m. From 12 midnight to 6 a.m. So as I was about to sleep, I saw my boss call me, Mr. Sapon. And he said, "Nanaya, where are you?" I said, "I'm coming to sleep. I'm getting ready to go to prison." He said, "What prison? You're not going anywhere." I found the box, all the receipts, everything. Everything is in the box. I said, "What time?" He said, 3 a.m. I was sleeping in my living room. And something told me to go to my garage. I entered my garage and I looked and there was a box sitting there. I was wondering and something pushed me to go towards that box. When I took the box and I opened it, all the photocopies of the receipts were there. I said, He said, "Yes." He said, "Get up, don't sleep." I said, "I haven't slept." So we went to the man, the forensic auditor, and we gave him everything. When he saw that, he said, "These people are wicked." That's what he said. He said, "These people are wicked." How? The man did the report, everything. He got the receipt. Then he even wrote in the thing that I have given, I haven't taken any money. He's satisfied. I have given everything. He's satisfied. Then Yoko called me again that they are coming to reinvestigate me. After the man has sent them the report that he's okay, I haven't done anything wrong. They said they were going to investigate me again. So I asked them, "Are you okay?" That one I spoke. I said, "How?" "This is a report I'm holding. It says categorically what it is. These are my receipts." Then they didn't know that I had photocopies.
Oh, okay.
So they said that I bribed the man. Because they had thrown away all the originals. So I started showing them the photocopies. And they said, "Wow." So that is how
That's how it all ended.
And nobody told me anything.
Then you lost your job?
I lost my job. I lost my dignity. I lost my life. I lost everything. A young woman who has learned so hard. I remember last week one of my sons was looking at my CV and said, "Hey, Mommy, what go school, Papa?" So I mean, I lost everything. But me, I'm happy today. And at the bottom of it, everywhere I went, they said that I knew His Excellency John Mahama.
That was it.
That I was in DC. That as a public servant I was in. I said, I worked as a public servant. He said, no. And they punished me.
For that?
Punished me. Sacked me from my government bungalow. Nobody even looked where I was going to sleep. A single parent with children took my job, took my car from me. Me, I wasn't corrupt, so me, I wasn't doing anything. I hadn't even finished my house. Me, I would take my salary, and that is all I knew what to do. For me, I didn't know anything like you are going somewhere to do anything. Then I heard the finance person who was at the PRC at the time. He's still there. I heard he made the comment that this world is unfortunate. This is the person who is straight amongst the people in this office. You give him her 2 cedis, she'll bring you receipts for 2 cedis. You give her 5 cedis to spend 3 cedis, she'll bring you the change of 2 cedis. And this is what is happening to her. The young finance girl who is now there, she said that, Auntie, they locked us up. So when we were going, she told us, Auntie, I told these people, you are straight. They say I should say that you are a thief. And she said, Auntie, I told them, and now they locked me up. So she was going to tell me what happened when she was locked up. And I said, you should keep quiet. She said, Auntie, when I came, I had to change my story. I said, don't worry. This is part of it. We've been put in handcuffs. They had a policeman here, policeman there. I said, don't worry. I mean, this, you see, my father was a lawyer. I never as much as even entered the police station before.
That was your first time?
Yes, I've never in my whole life even crossed. Because my daddy told me that you lead a straight and narrow life. And I am also a Christian, a born-again Christian from Asokwa Baptist to Grace Baptist to Calvary Baptist to Shashi. I mean, I led a certain straight life. I'm the daughter of F.A. Jantuah. I mean, seriously, I would say I'm privileged because my daddy made sure that you got everything so that you don't go stealing. He always told me. And my daddy cried. I remember those days he was alive. They showed these things on TV and Daddy actually cried. And he asked me, where is Nanado? And I said, Daddy is there. The day they gave me permission to leave, anytime I had to leave Accra, I had to seek permission. And my daddy saw me. He touched me. He was like, Nanaya, is that you? I said, Daddy, that is me. He said, but you did a great job at the PRC. And I'm proud of you. And anybody who thought that you didn't do well, it is their own business. But this is what I went through. But you see, Sana, me, I'm not bitter. I am happy that God has brought me thus far. For nothing at all, I am doing what has always been my passion, politics.
Okay.
And I was always, I was a bit uncomfortable being in public service. And I always thought I have to come into politics. And my daddy said, you see, to be in politics, you need to get an experience from the public service. And I was happy. But maybe I stayed too long. Maybe after 15 years or so, I should have left and gone into politics. But I also thought I was serving my nation. I thought it was very important that you serve your nation. But it's unfortunate that under the Nanado government, they were too, the word is not coming, but they thought about themselves. And they were a bit selfish to a fault and to a core. And it was like, if you are not part of them, you are nobody. That they changed people anyhow in the public service. They sacked people, which had never happened. Because certain statutory institutions kept their people there, but they went down to even public servants. But today, look at them doing open politics. Look at them doing open politics. Chief executive officers doing open politics. Sana, doesn't make sense. The Free Zones Board person, lotteries, they all went to stand as, and it is not done. It is against the rules of the public service. And they just decided to do things anyhow. This country is started. This country should be put together with super glue so that we can get it in a very good form. Because the country is started. They did things anyhow as if they were in their own home. Even they wouldn't treat their home like that. Senna, they didn't do well by us. And I do not think that we should forgive them.
Well, and I need to take a break. When I come back, I'll ask you whether, and this is a very important, because going into, you're just talking about the power sector.
Yeah.
The sector you were in, whether you're seeing signs that would enter into another crisis, another power crisis, and what they need to do to prevent it. So we'll be right back. The power sector briefly. Do you see a problem going forward?
Yeah, if we don't, let me say congratulations to Honorable Bagbin. I think he's done a great job, and I believe that he should be retained, and I'm happy that His Excellency John Mahama has put in a word. He navigated a very tricky and rocky road in the 8th Parliament, and I think he has to be commended, and I think it's great.
Tricky and rocky road.
Yeah, tricky and rocky road.
So the Parliament itself was quite a tricky one.
Yes, a very tricky one.
Who has had very high expectations of him?
Yes, but I think he delivered.
Okay. For you, he delivered?
For me, he did.
Okay.
It wasn't easy. I mean, the kind of Parliament that he superintendent over, it wasn't clear. Do you get me? I mean, having a hung Parliament is not an easy thing. It's like having twins. You have to buy 2 dresses same
every time.
Yes. Do you get me? So I mean, it wasn't easy, but and his background being in DC, and he managed to be fair. I mean, as much as he could, he managed to be fair. Sometimes the detriment of his own party people. They thought he wasn't too, but for me, he was good.
Okay.
Yes, we need to really look at it before we don't fall into doom. So, that's why I'm saying there should be a major stakeholder meeting on this electricity subsector of the energy sector to know exactly what is there. We have to do. Energy Commission should do an audit of how much power we need and what we have, a true one, not the one that the MPP is saying that we are paying for a PPA. You don't pay for a PPA when you haven't commissioned the plant.
Okay,
you get me? You don't pay for a capacity charge. Capacity charge is in the tariff.
Okay,
and you don't pay a capacity charge when the plant has not been commissioned by ECG into the grid.
Okay,
so all those things they were saying were not true. Let's see the true state and nature of the utilities. And I would want to bring one person on board. He might be MPP, but Kwampianim was a chairman.
Okay.
Not as a chairman, but that stakeholder meeting. He should be invited because he wrote a letter to Kufo, in His Excellency Kufo, in 2000 and I think 7 or 6, when we were having those challenges. Projected into the future by 2013, we would see what we saw.
Okay.
If nothing was done to increase capacity, but nothing was done.
Okay. He wrote a letter.
Yes, he did. He was my chairman. I was in the period.
Focusing what we
Yes, what happened in 2012, 2013.
Okay.
And it happened. So such a person, whatever stakeholder meeting we are having, we should try and invite him. But we should have a stakeholder meeting, dispassionate one, discussions about the sector for everything should be brought to bear.
Okay.
For us to know. I know the transition team has some information, but you need to be very technical to some of the things. They pad it, they hide it, and you wouldn't know. We need experts to unravel, unpad, unwrap whatever is hidden. Going forward, I didn't see it in the manifesto of His Excellency Mahama. I think maybe it's there. It's a big document. There should be a policy direction on off-grid.
Off-grid?
Yes.
Okay.
Solar.
Okay.
Off-grid electricity, so that the pressure on the grid will be removed. You see this Bank of Ghana building, I don't know if they've even done any electricity audit of how much electricity that building needs.
Okay.
Even a fire audit, I don't know if they've done it. But such a building should have solar panels with batteries storage behind it or somewhere stored, so that the items that are not heavy equipment like the lift, which will be on the grid, computers and other things, lightning, should be solar.
Okay.
And there should be a policy that every estate that is built, gated, as part of the cost, they should add solar panels, or wind, or whatever, renewable energy that will be good enough for use. So that, for instance, if you do all this and we are even to save 200 megawatts, it means 200 megawatts of the grid is free for industry. You should also look at the tariff structure. The tariff structure is lopsided because industry is paying more, but the cost of serving industry is cheaper because they are very close to the system.
Okay.
So LV, MV, HV companies, medium voltage, high voltage, low voltage companies, they are down there, and sending power to them, you don't need too much.
Okay.
You lift it bulk because they are bulk suppliers, bulk customers, sorry. You lift it bulk and you give it to them. But when it comes to us, you need to step down.
Okay. So it takes a lot more work to supply power
to the
individual
domestic homes, because you need to have a transformer, you need cable, so many things. So at the end of the day, the cost of serving electricity to us is higher.
Okay.
But because of the way our economy is and people don't have money, normally industry subsidizes the domestic consumers. But in the middle of that is the non-residential consumers.
Okay.
The non-residential consumers are the banks, the hairdressers, people like Radio Gold, and they are paying same as in tariff brackets with everybody. The hairdresser in your bracket is paying same as you.
Okay.
Do you get me? If you are using 300 units, the hairdresser is using 300 units, you are paying the same tariff. But you make more money than the hairdresser.
Okay.
Or it's 150 to 300 and you are paying same. So there should be so even if subsidy is given for small and medium enterprises, you are all enjoying. The bank is enjoying because you are lumped together. There should be a segregation.
Okay.
You look at it. We should also look at bulk metering, compound houses. We should give households meters.
Okay.
Because when you give them the bulk meters, it raises the tariff above the trajectory of single consumption.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because the power that passes through is bulk. So, for instance, in one place, there will be people, the meter will record 1,000 megawatts. And you will pay 1,000 megawatts per unit.
Okay.
The price for 1,000 megawatts.
Okay.
But if, for instance, I was having my own meter, maybe I'm using between 40 and maybe 50, and that is lower. So we should also have a policy to look at bulk metering. Bulk metering too sometimes is tricky. It can catch fire. It can do anything because of the overload.
Okay.
Most of the markets, Accra Mall, they have a bulk meter.
Really?
Yes. Kumasi, the markets, they have a bulk meter.
Like the KJT market.
The KJT market.
The new market.
The new market. They've been asking for metering for the shops. They have a bulk meter. So we have to look at all this. Of course, if you are not careful, it will reduce the revenue of the utilities. But if cumulatively I'm doing 1,000 megawatts, it still comes to that.
Okay.
But people would pay less.
Okay.
And when you put the cash together, it still comes to that.
Okay.
But so we need to look at this. And some of these, like Accra Mall, what do they use? Air conditioning. And so they should also go on off-grid solar. All the milk homes that are coming up, they are on the grid, though. This Christmas, look at the lights around. I ask myself, the lights on the high streets, and who is paying for this? Where is the meter? Where is it coming from? It is still light. So we need to look at all this before we get into load shedding again. It is imperative that immediately His Excellency takes over. The first thing it has to do, whether he has a minister or no minister, just look for the people who were there before at your time. It doesn't mean he's going to appoint anybody. But as he's going to do a stakeholder meeting on the economy runs on electricity. If the electricity is not good enough, the 24-hour economy will not work. And I also heard that he wants the AGI to lead that course. I don't know, for the economic meeting. I believe that there should be a committee that will have to deal with different stakeholders, because the economy is run by different centers. We have the markets, we have industry, we have commerce. Do you get me? So AGI is only industry. Guta is commerce. There are the market women who are there. There are the welders, the hairdressers. They are all part of the economy. So if you leave it to one wing to deal with, then they will forget about the other ones. There should be a committee of people who understand how the economy runs. And in this stakeholder meeting, everybody should be present. You know what? The women in the markets determine. That's why I always say that the market determines the exchange rate. Even those who change currency, you should call them. They should have an associate. You should call them, because the way they sometimes they dictate the pace. The women will get up in the morning and say, today the exchange rate is like this. If you are not careful, it's running.
It goes up.
It goes up. So he should meet them and even speak to them to reduce prices. And tell everybody that whatever you bring, till we get our import substitution plan in place, please just depend on the universal 8% profit margin, rate of return. Because even the IPPs, the utilities, it's an 8% profit margin. Sometimes somebody will do 100% profit margin. Yes, because of uncertainty of what the dollar cedi if the person is an importer. But we should also think about the nation. And I believe that when he meets them, he should meet them in segments before the normal and tell them that, please, I beg you, do 8% so that there will be some form of control pricing. Some people should also do work for him. How much these things are imported? How much is the import duty? Then you all do the calculation and say that if somebody even brings a bag of rice from Thailand, the import duty is this, the price there is this, the import duty is this. So even if you sell at this, you haven't lost. All this work has to be done so that price increases will be what? Minimized and contained. That if you do not contain it, then you have this hyperinflation. You see, in this country, one item, so now you buy one item for 2 cedis in shop A. Go to the next shop, that item is 1 cedi 50%. Go to another shop, it is 4 cedis. Why should one item have different prices? Go abroad, one item, in different shops, it is the same price. We need to come to that point where we should let the market, yes, dictate, not some form of, but there should also be a hand that will help the market dictate. Because otherwise, we will leave things and things are so expensive. If you don't, I go to Makola to do my shopping. I don't go to Melcom or anywhere because the tomatoes in Makola is cheaper than the tomatoes at Melcom or ShopRite. You find people shopping tomatoes at Melcom. Do you get me?
Yeah.
So, I mean, even sometimes when I need shoes, I don't go to shops. I go to Makola. Because there are shops in Makola. The same shoe that you find in Makola for 100 cedis, you find in a shop 1,500. Sometimes they pick bags from, there's a place in Makola where bags are sold. They pick bags and put it in shops and triple. We should look at this so that at the end of the day, the Ghanaian will be a bit relieved. If you do not do that, especially with the price control mechanism, it should not be like price control, but Big Brother should try and do something, put a rule in term that is not on paper, that's 8% rate of return should be okay. But as we are doing that, you should also look at the cedi dollar ratio. So much money, $11 billion is being used to import items for us to chop, just to consume. You go to Burkina Faso here, the man has set up a tomato puree factory, $25 million. We are using $11 billion for imports. Meanwhile, we have tomato at Akumada. It gets rotten on the farm. Do you get me? So, if $11 billion is chasing your CD, why won't you have this kind of depreciation? You are changing your CD into this kind of amount, taking things, buying things from abroad, when we could have an import substitution plan. For instance, we have an import substitution plan for now, for the next 2 years, 60-40. Let's import 60% and do 40 for now. Gradually, we'll be easing ourselves. People like the honorable at Parliament who does rice. I always mix him up. Yes, Kobna Minta Kando. Such a person, we should help him to grow more. The young men, the 24-hour economy, the women, we should let them go into agribusiness so that we get food to even export. The MPP, the only thing that they knew about their one district one was a Kumfi juice. A Kumfi juice too was in some truck somewhere. Anytime you pass, it will be sitting in trucks. And that is all you could see of a Kumfi juice. Apart from a Kumfi juice, you couldn't see anything that they did. But His Excellency John Mahama should have a plan.
Okay.
A plan that will move this country from import dependence to export. We have the GIPs, you have the free zones, we have the exports. I use exports. They've changed the name. I've forgotten what the name is. The export company organization, Export Promotion Council. In our time, it was Export Promotion Council. When it says His Excellency Ahoy, former Minister for South Africa, Ambassador for South Africa, left the GIPC. That is where he went. So that place, all these institutions are there. National Board for Small Scale Industries. We should use them and put plans in place. NDPC. We should have an economic development, trajectory that will help this country grow out of the dependence on imports. It is very key so that our country can move forward. $11 billion. And Guta must be turned into an industrial organization. This $11 billion is coming from Guta. So if we help them to set up industries, it will also create jobs. But I also want to say that as Parliament changes their leadership, I've sent a petition to Right Honourable Speaker that they should reserve one of the deputy speakers for a woman.
A woman should be...
Yes, one of the deputy speakers should be a woman permanently.
Like so, every time there's an
election, they should make sure there should be a concerted, intended effort.
Okay.
To make sure that a woman with the qualities is brought to Parliament. I've heard that you have to be a lawyer. So a woman of the government, whoever it is, they should find one woman. It cannot be all men at that level.
Okay.
In tandem with the affirmative action law that has been passed. And I want that there should be a secretariat under the Ministry of Gender and Women's Social Protection, that there should be an affirmative action secretariat.
Okay.
To be able to implement the tenets of the affirmative action bill so that women would have a space and a voice. So at that highest level now we have a woman vice president. We are happy, but they should give us one. We are pleading that the men should give us one deputy speaker.
Okay.
That first or second, we have to be there to show that Ghana is ready to promote women. Senna, 2028 is a woman. Okay. A woman will lead this nation.
2028?
Yes.
That's your prediction?
That's my prediction.
I see. Quite a note to conclude on.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you, as always. Just a few comments that there's this one that says, this woman is full of sense. She should be giving her job back. If you get PRs, you will not go back.
No.
You won't go back to PR?
No. For what I went through, it will be a reminder of pain.
Okay.
It will be a reminder that I'm not working with, because everything was orchestrated from within.
Okay.
But who knows? Whatever God, I don't know what God will decide.
Okay.
And I don't know what, it's not our will, but it's always the will of God. Maybe your will is something else, but the will of God is also something else. But yes, I'm over it. I'm happy wherever God took me to. Yes, in CPP2, the MPP orchestrated a system to get me out.
I see.
Yes, they
Even
paid
in
them.
CPP?
Yes. The chief of staff said I was bashing them.
Okay.
So for them to get any assistance from the MPP, they should sack me. And
The chief of staff?
yes, and my crime was that I was always defending His Excellency John Mahama.
I see.
And that's even when my chairman was interviewed. I didn't even know. That's why was I sacked. She said that I was always defending His Excellency John Mahama.
That was why you were removed.
I was removed.
I see. Listen, that's an interesting.
Yeah, they used to take me to Central Committee to say that when I speak on TV, on radio, I always defend NDC. I don't talk about CP. I said, it is what is on the table that we are talking about. I was even talking for CPP more, and it even raised the profile of the party. But they said no, I was talking for NDC, and I was not bashing NDC enough, and I was talking for His Excellency John Mahama. So they paid them money, whatever it is that happened. But I'm happy that I am here today.
No, yeah, champion Jantuah. Now you are former General Secretary of the CPP, was a Director of Communication and External Affairs of the PURC. Those were the last.
Yes, and I'm the Executive Secretary of COSECA. Okay. I want to be known now as the Executive Secretary
of COSECA.
Because
COSECA is a
coalition of stakeholders in electricity contracts and arrangements.
Okay.
It's a group that I formed with some of my colleagues. I have Ben Boache, Kofi Kapito.
Oh, okay.
We are together in Dr. Mantea, or my brother Kwame.
Okay.
We look at the energy sector, and we also proffer solutions to whoever is in charge.
That's nice. Yeah. That's nice. So I will hope to hear from you.
Yes.
In the days and months to come, because it's important.
Because certainly maybe with no time. Now they have a general secretary, so I don't want it to be a mix-up. My deputy orchestrated a system to get me out and become the general secretary.
And you are definite. You mentioned the people who you
because I know and have been told, and I don't lie. If your deputy is sitting on your seat, what does it mean? If I'm in that position and you call me to come and take over, I'll tell you I won't take it, because this is my person who brought me in. But for you to take it and sit down on my chair and then going around calling yourself general secretary, I told him in his face, I won't lie. And I've been told severally how they had meetings and he said he would do better than me. And now posterity is seeing whether he did better than me. But whatever it is for now, once they have a general secretary, I don't want to conflict. I'll feel more comfortable to be called by my
Executive Secretary for COSECA.
Yeah.
That's nice. We need to hear a lot more from you when it comes to the electricity and energy sector. Well, by the time you left PURC, was there load shedding?
No. There was no load shedding.
Okay, by the time Nana Akufo-Addo
there was no load shedding. His Excellency John Mahama solved load shedding. I went to Turkey with so many people to make sure that we get the car power ship. By the time car power ship landed on the shores of this country, load shedding ended.
Oh, okay.
His Excellency John Mahama ended load shedding. There is no doubt about that. If there were some outages, of course, maybe localized issues, because as you even put in the grid new machines and all that, you can have some issues. You get me? But it wasn't load shedding. Anybody who says that it was not load shedding, His Excellency John Mahama, at the time I was leaving PURC, had solved load shedding. You see, I picked a taxi and we're talking. I always have chats with the taxi drivers. And he said, Madam, I know you. I said, where do you know me? He said, oh, PURC. I said, okay. He said, Madam, you know, when people say that His Excellency John Mahama did not solve load shedding, I am surprised, because you don't take a day to get a plant. Even the commercial arrangements of getting a plant in place is a long process. And MPP didn't add one plant. They rather increased the capacity of plants like Ameri and extended the time. And Mary and all these plans that when they came, they were taking people to court on. Who brought it? Is it not His Excellency John Mahama?
Yes.
And now they've dumped one in Kumasi, one part of it in Kumasi, which is a white elephant. It's not working. Is it working? They should let us know. They should be charged for causing financial loss to the state.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Today is a long day for us because, later in the evening, Parliament will be in session. Of course, because Parliament will have to be reconvened. They have to elect a speaker, elect a first deputy speaker, a second deputy speaker.
One should be
3.
a woman.
One, which Nana says should be a woman. Now, so those 3 will happen from midnight. So the speaker nominated, the president-elect has asked the NDC to nominate Alban Sumana Kingsford Bago to continue as speaker, which a lot of people have welcomed. So,
is there somebody else who wants it that we don't know?
No, I actually haven't heard. There are names that have been mentioned, but that is his name has been predominant. So we'll see. So, but I'm sure he'll be put forward, and then the other deputies will be elected. Then we'll know the leadership of the various groups. We already know that the MPP has decided that the current leadership should continue in place.
Yeah, they are not going to do anything there, so it's okay.
But the NDC will know the leadership.
How many are they?
The leadership.
No, I'm talking about the micro, the microcosm.
Interestingly, the count is, and that's where we will get to today, because everybody says different things about how many leaders, but at least, if nothing at all, I think the NDC has about 183 members of parliament.
Is it 384?
The last time I checked,
they don't have a clear to test,
yes,
right?
Yes, 183 is not a clear to test, but if they can get the other, because the two independent candidates are NDC, and
so they come and add, and that was one.
That will give them the numbers.
180. Yes. Oh, but even the other 2, who will sit with somebody who has lost? Everybody wants to be with the winner. Okay, so but I'm interested in that other side.
Which side?
That one, the other one there. What is their number? They are struggling like some little boys and girls to get seats.
But they want more seats.
No, but what is their number there? I want to find out.
And that's Nana. In fact,
as it stands, without those 4.
Without those 4, no. In fact, they will count because those 4 will have to be in parliament.
But the speaker said he's not swearing them in because there's an injunction. There's a stay of execution on the collation. So, and he has been informed. So he said he's not swearing them in.
He's asking so many questions.
No, yes. Because for instance,
to those questions.
This lady at is it Tema East?
Yes, Tema Central. Actually,
Baby Bright.
Yeah, that Baby Bright.
Look, Baby Bright. Look at how they are treating her. They told her that they would do the recollation in her constituency, and they went to do it elsewhere without Greater Accra Regional Office without telling her. And she wasn't there when the recollation was going on. What kind of mafia works is this? And she's a woman. And she has done well. I don't see why we shouldn't support her. And you rather want to steal her seat.
Well,
I mean, how?
Then I have to leave.
Okay, I hear.
Thank you. Thank you. We are back.
Thank you. PENDREAM TV really appreciate your time once again and say God bless you.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.